care who they put in there and tackle. Woo! They got to deal with that. There we go.
What's going on, sports fans? It's Josh Williams back again with another episode of the American Fan 365 podcast. Welcome to all our friends watching live on IG. Thank you guys so much for watching the broadcast. Please make sure you like, share, and push it to your people. For everyone watching the repeat episode or the I guess secondary episode. I don't know what's the word for it, Dave.
I think repeat was fine, or replay. Secondary is not the right word.
Replay. Everyone watching the replay, thank you guys so much for tuning in on YouTube and then on Spotify, on Zeal Radio, on all the different channels that we're on. We thank you guys. But excited to be here today. Dave, we got some good food yesterday.
Good Lord, that place is delicious.
So wait, you ate it when you got home?
You better believe it. Ooh.
There's something to be said about the reheatability of food. That's the separator for me. If I can heat your food back up and it's still good.
And it was soon enough that I didn't have to reheat that much.
Okay, fair enough. It was still solid. Shout out to our guy Chef O over at House of Dutch Pot over in that's off of Durango and Flamingo here in Las Vegas.
I've been telling everybody about it since then.
Yeah, definitely by far the best Jamaican restaurant in the city. He's up there with any Jamaican restaurant I've ever been to. But definitely a shout out to him. So thanks again for having us yesterday.
Can I say something semi-controversial?
Go ahead.
For any restaurant from any place in the world, I need to see one thing specifically in there. When I walk into a restaurant, I need to see nobody that looks like me.
You didn't see anyone that looked like you?
Lord, no. Thank God. I was like, ooh, I'm in a good spot.
I hate you so much.
Like if I walk into a Chinese restaurant, I don't want to see somebody that looks like me in there.
There's no Carls.
No, I want to be
Kevins.
the only one.
Okay,
that's
right.
it.
All right, fair enough.
I want to be in the know.
There's something to be said about that because I mean, listen, if I go to a Mexican restaurant and it's some black fellas in the back, we're not gaily authentic. It is what it is.
That's another weird thing for me. Like with Mexican places, I have a weird rule.
Okay. You
have to sell lingua. You have to sell tongue. I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to order it. But I have to know that you make it.
That's the separator.
It helps.
I hate you.
It's usually something that tells me there's some level of authenticity.
I hate you so very much. But let's go around the world in sports. First off, after all of our idiocy, we got some somber news to report. Literally found this out on the way to the studio. Hall of Fame offensive lineman Larry Allen has passed away. One of the last, from the last Dallas Cowboys championship team. I thought he won more than just the one, but he was younger than I thought. Passed away at 52. And he was a part of that Super Bowl 30 championship team back in '95. What do you think about Larry Allen?
2 decades. I mean, as you had said, two all-decade teams.
Yes, the '90s and the 2000s.
When
That's
you
crazy.
are good enough to be the best at your position. So 2 people made that for a decade, and he did it twice.
Yeah, that's crazy. Four total. Four
yeah,
total.
That's what I'm saying. 4 total.
Yeah.
He's 2 of the 4. That tells you all you need to know.
That's saying something.
That was one of those guys, no matter what you thought about the team, you're like, well, you got to stay away from that guy.
Yeah, he was one of the strongest offensive linemen of all time. Like, I remember he had like 40-something bench press at the combine and that kind of stuff.
I remember the stats were always dumb.
Yeah.
When they would talk about workout stuff, like you hear about with Aaron Donald now, but he'd be the guy on the opposite side of the ball where it's like, no, he could like lift a truck.
Legit. Six-time All-Pro, 11-time Pro Bowler. Let's see, like we said, the 90s All-Decade Team, the 2000 All-Decade Team, the NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time Team, and also Pro Football Hall of Famer. R.I.P. to Mr. Larry Allen. Also, Dave wanted to bring out some other bad news. I didn't know this one. This one came up right when I sat down.
I didn't want to.
But like, this is a Hoya. This is former Georgetown Hoya and Charlotte Hornet, Atlanta Hawks. He was also on the Nets for a period there too.
He had some stretches. He's got some stamps.
Alonzo Mourning, Hall of Fame center, had his prostate removed after, you said, stage 3 cancer.
Yeah, stage 3 prostate cancer. But cancer free now.
We can only hope.
Yeah,
Shout out
he's
to the
cancer
legend.
free, and he's out there to tell people to get checked out.
Yeah, get checked out. Get checked out. Switching gears over, well, keeping it in football. So Jalen Waddle signed a huge new deal. Dave and I were talking about it yesterday while we were eating some dinner, and I didn't have the numbers because I wasn't even going to talk about it. But that deal led to an even bigger deal today with Justin Jefferson signing a huge, the largest non-quarterback deal in history. Dave, what are the numbers?
Numbers 4 for 140, so high as you can tell. But there's two numbers that really matter. The one that means the most is always the guaranteed money.
Yeah,
110 of that is guaranteed.
That's good.
And he gets 88.74 right up front.
Oh my God, 88 million up front.
88 mil up front.
Yeah, he's gritty into the bank for sure.
Well,
Man.
That's their only hope of seeing what they got with JJ McCarthy. So you had to do that one.
I will say, as much money as the NFL is being paid and is making every year, the players need to be paid more. Overall,
Doesn't bother me.
Overall, I mean, because when you look at, now the NBA is they're signing off on their new NBA deal, and the numbers for the players are about to get crazy. Like, players are about to be getting $90 million a year, $80 million a year.
I actually argued with somebody about this the other day because they were talking about how, wow, it's too much money going to a person. And my philosophy will always be the same. I'll always be on the player side with this, because guess what? Those rights deals keep going up. The money is going somewhere. There's clearly a demand for it, or it wouldn't be paid for.
Yeah.
Would you rather the owners had that money, or would you rather the players that you watch have that money? I'd rather the players have the money.
Amen.
So
the owners are going to make the money.
Yeah, they're making money regardless.
Yeah.
And with very, very few exceptions, you come in incredibly rich.
Yeah.
You don't need any more. This is just more of a showpiece for you.
Yeah.
In a lot of these cases. But yeah, I want the players to make as much as they're going to make. If the TV deals are what they are, if they feel that that's what it's worth, get the players the money. I mean, they're only getting half of it. The other half goes to owners.
Yeah. And remember, in the NBA, players get 51%, so they actually get the lion's share of the money before it's split. I'm not sure what it is in the NFL. I don't think it's that high.
It's not as high.
It
The
can't be.
NBA is on the higher side.
Yeah.
Baseball, of course, is way up there as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But no, there's some of the sports where it's a little bit higher. NFL is always going to be a little bit tougher because they're going to say there's a player churn and just the fact that so many players really never make it to huge money.
Yeah.
So, but the plus is, with all this money going up, every player that makes it in makes it to some money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to be one of the few that makes it far enough to be in these leagues.
Yeah.
I mean, it's far more even for basketball than it is for football, because basketball is played everywhere.
Yeah.
So when you see the money that comes in, when you're coming in on those league minimums,
it's still minimum of a lot.
you can change your family's life with that league minimum.
Yeah, legit. You're a high-paid surgeon on that league minimum for sure.
Yeah.
So still not a bad look. Switching gears over to fighting, UFC 302. Man, it was a bit of a snoozer until the Steven Segal moment, Dave.
I don't like it. I don't like anything about what's about to happen.
I understand. Young Travis in the back. He has the clip. Oh, Dave is averting his eyes. Go ahead. Here we go.
I can't see it.
Well, it started, Dave. You can watch this part. He knocked him. It knocked him down.
I know exactly what happened. I watched it.
It was good. You know what I mean? It was good until it wasn't. That was probably about 15 seconds later, and all of a sudden, oh no, my arm. What's What's gonna Herb Dean step in for the love of God? My man's in distress.
It popped out. But
He is
listen,
in
the man was
distress.
fighting it like the decision he was wronged. Saw your arm pop, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
As someone who's had bones stick out of their body, I can't look at these things.
Ooh, well, we've got some squirmish folks in the back, but that's,
I'd rather see a corpse than that.
you'd rather see a corpse than an arm pop
100%.
out?
Well, especially since that's where the bone stuck out of my body. Yes.
Wait, where? Oh, wait. The bone stuck out of your body?
Yeah.
I don't remember this. Where?
Oh, this is years back. Oh, yeah. That's why my arms are still all messed up.
Really?
It's forever ago. Yeah.
What were you doing?
It's on a basketball court. It was wet. So it just came straight down.
Really?
Bone sticking out.
Holy
Still have a metal plate and a bunch of screws and stuff
Bro,
in there.
I never knew that. Okay, I'm sorry that makes me a bit of a jerk. Making this man relive some past pains.
I'm fine.
But
Didn't see it again.
That wasn't the biggest news. Before we get over to the main event, we did get some new gloves. New gloves in the UFC. Actually, I had seen these gloves during the fight week for UFC 300. They were saying that they were actually going to be letting Jamal Hill and Alex Pereira wear these gloves. I don't like that both fighters wear them. I feel like it should just be the champion. What do you think?
Being that they're gold?
Yeah, well, like the champion should wear the gold gloves. Maybe the challenger should wear white or red. Like maybe give them another color as well, but they shouldn't both wear gold.
I'd be okay with wear whatever color gloves you want, and you give the champs gold and then give everybody else something else, because I mean they do the uniformity with what the champs wear.
Yeah.
No matter what style of short or trunk they wear, they always wear this. All champs wear the same color.
Well, no, now starting to play with it a little bit, because
they did move it a little bit.
Yeah. Now getting some custom shorts. I think that's only certain fighters. I don't think they're gonna let everyone rock whatever they want.
It's weird. I clearly I could see from the first fight of the pay-per-view part, the Randy Brown fight, there's still a work in progress, because some of what they were created for still hasn't figured it out. So you could still move the fingers, I think, a little more than they want to, so you could still get those pokes if your hands are up and spread out with the fingers like that.
Yeah.
So it's not ready yet.
Yeah.
But you got to start at some point.
I gotta next time we have one of our fighters on the show, I want to ask them more about like what's the difference in the new glove, because this is the new glove that they're using, the black version of this, but now like the glove is made with I want to say only one piece. It's basically contained, and then as Dave was saying, it's supposed to restrict some of the eye poke, like your fingers are supposed to be more downward.
Right.
They're not. You're not really supposed to be able to flex them forward as much.
And once again, smart marketing, because that's yet more money, because all the fanboys will be going out when they're buying their gloves.
Oh, for sure.
They're going to buy the official UFC gloves.
I think these are $150 a pair.
Whew.
Yeah, I saw that online. I was
that
like,
sounds about right.
Sounds about white.
Yeah.
Dana White. Dana White.
That one.
And then finally with the UFC 302, the main event, man, nothing else can be said. Dave was right. I was pulling for my Diamond Boy. He had Sweet Pea. He had Sweet Pea in the stands. I thought, baby girls in the stands. I was like, oh, we getting this, Dave.
Yeah.
And then this happened. Trav has the clip. Oh, goodness gracious. He got darsed out. It started in a guillotine and transitioned over to a darce. This is in the 5th round, so it did go close to the distance. So if you had longer than 4.5, you made money.
Where he locked him in there is nasty.
Yeah, it wasn't looking
These
good.
guys, man. Makhachev. Ooh. I don't know what you do. Like I said, until someone cracks that code.
Yeah.
I don't really know what you do with the man yet.
I look, listen, my only issue, and I know Makhachev did pretty well on the feet as well. I've said on previous episodes, I just wish it wasn't so much gay porn, so much rolling on the ground. Sometimes
it's part of the sport, man. You have to recognize it's not just these aren't just lay and pray guys anymore. Like guys like this, when they're on the ground, they're constantly moving.
Yeah.
Like your cardio machines. I mean, we saw that with Habib when he was first coming up, was that he would get you to the ground, and it's just like it would seem like nothing's happened. But if you look like little arm movements, little leg movements, and he's constantly forcing you to move his weight around and your weight around at the same time. We all love people standing up and trading, but I think most of the history of the sport is now showing us that's not the way to be the champion.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for certain guys where it's like, where that's basically all they can do. I'm blanking on the fight that was in this card where it was like, fight. Like everything was, the guy would take him back to the ground because he could, and the other guy couldn't do anything to stop it. First off, in a real fight, in a real life fight, and I know my friends that, Nick Diaz from Veterans Minimum and some of the other folks that watch the show, and some of you out there that do jiu-jitsu and different things, listen, if you get me on the ground and I can't do anything and I'm starting to feel like we're rolling around, I'm biting, I'm pinching, I'm doing whatever it takes to get back on my feet. Well,
I would say anybody that gets you on the ground like that, you'll be asleep before you could start biting.
well, God bless. I'd at least don't make me have to live through that where it's like, okay, why is another man in between my legs?
Realistically, it's just hard work. They know that they're going to force you. I mean, we first saw this like the infancy stages. I feel like for most people, at least uneducated people like myself,
sure,
with like GSP.
Yeah,
GSP would get you on the ground. Those fights were not fun fights to watch. But for 5 rounds, he could just sit there and he was going to out cardio you.
Yeah, on the ground.
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier, too. DC, world-class wrestler, obviously, gold medalist, and also a friend of the show. So, I mean, look, anytime I bring any of the UFC guys on, I always am like, this whole ground stuff. And they don't really ever give me a good answer. Like, I never get a good answer.
Well, the answer is that's how you win.
Yeah.
There's very few of these fighters who can stand there and trade and get to a championship level. It happens.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Connor.
I was going to say Connor's a great example, but there's plenty of other fighters. I mean, John Jones made his name standing up.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at a lot of the winners, your ground game has to be strong. At the very least, you have to be able to, because that's the one thing Jones always had is he could defend getting taken down.
Yes, yeah. You have to at least be able to stop it. Like a lot of the guys that get in trouble is like they can't stop it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep taking you down because obviously I don't want to trade, but like obviously this is where I have the advantage. So.
And that's what made Habib so tough is his takedowns were pretty much unstoppable. Ruthless. He was getting you to the ground.
Ruthless, yeah.
And then it's constant little bits of work. It's constant energy.
Yeah.
You have to exert it. They exert it, but these guys are machines. I don't know what they feed them over there.
Those daggone Dagestani mountains.
It's just scary people.
Switching gears over to the Tyson-Paul fight. Mike Tyson has officially bowed out with a stomach ulcer. Did you want to see this fight, Dave?
Not even half a second of it.
Really?
I had no interest. Listen, as crazy as it sounds, I love what the Paul brothers are doing for athletes.
Yeah.
They're getting people paid.
Yeah.
This is going to be a nice payday for Mike, all that. I have no interest in seeing this fight because what's the outcome? If Mike wins, which is what everybody wants, basically, unless you're, 14 years old, you want Mike Tyson to win.
Yep. Yeah.
So if Mike Tyson wins, it's like Mike Tyson, even at this age, he was one of the greatest of all time. But Mike loses, it's another black man that this man beat. Nobody wants to see that, me included.
That's fair.
This man has been. That's one thing that people are like, well, you see, he's getting all the money in there, and all these guys are throwing fights. You think some of these fighters, whether they came up in boxing or not, want to lose to this man? I don't think that there's checks are one thing, pride is another.
Yeah, well, and this was going to be, last time Mike fought was during the Triller card with that actually birthed Jake Paul.
Yeah,
that was the
his
card
abomination with Roy Jones.
Well, Mike's abomination with Roy Jones.
That's what I'm saying.
That was Jake Paul's fight versus Nate Robinson, where it was like
That was
Nate's
embarrassing.
small, but it was
That
but I was
embarrassing.
and Nate's
It's
my
real
guy.
small when you're like on the ground face down. But hey, you know what? And one thing that all of us, as much as we make jokes about these things, they're still getting in the ring.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this Jake Paul is a world champion or anything like that. This man trains boxing constantly.
He does.
I used to have to tell people I work with all the time because we'd see all the fighters come through. And especially these smaller weight classes, these are very small guys. And they come in, they're like, oh man, that's a world champion. I said, he would murder you.
Like
He would murder me.
with one hand.
I'm like, you have to remember, there's two things that they know how to do: hit and get hit.
Yeah.
It's very different to actually know how to throw a punch is one thing. To know how to throw a punch is a very different thing. And then
Where
to sit
to
there,
punch.
yeah, where to punch, and just be accurate, and just it's fast, and to sit there and take hits every day.
Yeah. I know I can't take a hit. That is what it is. You touch my chin, I'm going down.
Yeah,
I've been in
No
one
thanks.
fight, and it was with my best friend. So we weren't really trying to really maim each other. It was just I had to get
fighters
some things settled.
fighters are a different breed, man. You have to be willing to take pieces of your life away.
Yeah.
Especially at the highest level. Like, no fighter comes out of fighting unscathed. None.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So, keeping it on boxing, Deontay Wilder has officially been knocked out again. Travis has the clip. Yeah, it was a sad.
Now, listen, sad, yes. Are there circumstances? Also, yes.
Deontay was. First off, I am loving this new age of like, let's pull the phone out and get this camera angle like inches from the action. I love it.
You say that, but then you go to a concert and people sit there all day, like just trying to record the whole thing.
No.
Or just the people, if any sort of skirmish or whatever happens in any business. Oh, I got my phone out. What are you going to do? Watch this later? Get out of here.
Well, for moments like this, my man went viral.
Damn you, world star. Damn you.
But Deontay Wilder, I only have one thing to say to you. Actually, I have three things. Deontay Wilder was never able and never learned how to box.
To this day.
Deontay Wilder, he never learned a second pitch after he couldn't knock you out.
To this day.
Nope.
Deontay Wilder, I'm still waiting patiently for you to move your head off the midline.
To this day.
Nope.
That's
To
all.
this day.
That's all I have to say about
To this day.
about the matter. But I know you
Thankfully,
had
Josh said it in this instance because
it would work out. So
wouldn't
well.
want him to run across me.
I've actually met Deontay before. He's a really nice guy, but like,
All the power in the world, never learned how to box.
yeah,
It was disappointing because I thought maybe from losing that first Fury fight where it was close.
yeah.
I
the
thought
draw,
maybe-
the draw.
Yeah,
Yeah, the draw,
that's right. It ended up being a draw. And
the knockdown.
I thought it was
swayed
with that knockdown. I thought maybe, but he would have learned from this, like, all that weight on me, and I'm gonna figure out. Nope, not even a little bit.
Yeah. And I know you were one of the things when we were talking about it yesterday, you were saying weight limits for heavyweights.
Ridiculous.
Deontay Wilder came into the fight at a bullish 215 pounds, whereas there was a 68-pound weight difference with his opponent Zhilei Zhang.
That's what's crazy. How you have no upper weight, 68 pounds.
68 pounds.
That's insanity. Because you have to figure he's fighting at 215, so he's not walking. Since he's at heavyweight, he's not walking around much more than that.
No, that's his weight.
He was fighting UFC. He'd be fighting light heavy.
And would still probably be a light heavyweight. He would just be very tall. He would be very tall when it's 6'7".
Well, because you were saying like what your friend Jamal walks around at
240, 250, easy,
and
probably
fights
260.
and fights light heavy.
And gets all the way down.
Yeah.
And he's a smaller light heavyweight. Like Johnny Walker, I'm
Yeah.
sure probably walks around at 265. He is a huge, muscular man. You know what I'm saying? And he would be similar height as Deontay
Boxing
Wilder.
is doing us a disservice with this because, I mean, you saw from the Fury Usyk fight, when Fury isn't preparing like he should prepare, he's just so big and he's just going to try to lay on you. And the problem is when you're 300 pounds plus and you're leaning on somebody constantly, it's a lot of energy to get you off of them.
Yeah.
So it's disgusting for the sport.
Yeah, especially if the ref isn't going to do anything to do, to stop it.
And the tough part is there's only so much refs can do in some of these cases, because when these fighters start just leaning and just grabbing for whole fights, who is that for?
Yeah,
that's not. I understand their skill and strategy boxing, and yes, being in there in the clutch and things like that will be part of a fight, but not the whole fight.
Yeah,
nobody wants to see that.
Especially now that I've started seeing it more at the but the lighter weight classes, because that was always like a heavyweight thing.
Yeah.
But like when you got into the welters and the middleweights and all that stuff,
especially like when Foreman came back, he was laying down.
Oh yeah.
Riddick Bowe when he was more out of shape.
Yep.
It's a lot of weights put on you.
Lennox Lewis too for some respects, but
Lewis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you like Lennox Lewis?
I did not like Lennox Lewis.
I was a half fan until like I was like, oh, this is boring. But switching gears over to the WNBA, we talked about it last week with Miss Caitlin Clark, and she is simply getting abused. Here's a clip of it. So this is from the game. I want to say that was Saturday.
It was Saturday's game.
It was Kennedy
Carter,
right? Kennedy Carter.
Yeah.
Like she ran up on her all this same game. Angel Reese, they're getting back into it. This actually wasn't a foul in the game. It ended up getting upgraded to a flagrant foul after the game. But then these are some of the other plays, earlier in the week.
You notice when she popped up with some of the ones in Seattle, you notice there was one of these where Aaliyah Boston had to come in like, Caitlin, not this one.
leave her be.
Yeah, not this one, Caitlin.
But I said last week that the ladies love to be right even when they're wrong. And I was saying to Dave yesterday, I said this to my parents after the show last week. I was like, listen, we all want to see Prince. Caitlin Clark is Prince. If you kill Prince off now, you'll never get to the revolution. We'll never get to see the rest of everyone else. You got the eyeballs. I still
have a counterpoint.
Okay.
And you can appreciate this from your time coaching.
Yes.
What I noticed from a lot of the commentary out there is most of you have never watched women play basketball. Women's basketball is too physical for us men to play.
Too physical.
Like they are way more physical than we are as men.
Hey, you know what? I'll say playing with ladies. Ladies scratch. Ladies do everything that we used to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you if you're playing with women out there who have played at a high level, those elbows are always flying. Those elbows stay high. They stay high at all times.
Yes.
I remember I practiced some before. Like there was back when I was young, my hair was long. My hair would get pulled. I would get hit.
Yeah.
I would. I've caught many an elbow.
Yeah.
It's just they don't play around. It's a very physical game.
It is. I will say the only thing that like whenever it has to get serious, just start playing with a slower pace. Like if you start slowing down, like, all right, relax. I'm just going to leave my body in between you and the ball.
Yeah.
And there's going to be trouble.
It's tough. But I think one other thing, which is a benefit to the league and is also hurting her in this respect, because of the Olympics accelerated schedule for this season where it's all more packed together, but they played 11 games.
Yeah.
The Aces have played 6 games. The closest team to them is the Liberty, who have played 9 games. Most teams have played 8.
Yeah.
They've already played 2 back-to-backs. You basically never play back-to-backs in the WNBA.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
So it's a lot of getting her out there. The demand is still crazy. It's getting her out there in front of as many people as possible. And there are still growing pains. But like yesterday wasn't because of physicality. When they played the Liberty,
Yeah.
They just got waxed by a much better team.
Yeah.
And she had a terrible game.
3 points and left the game early. One thing I did see before we get off this, our friend Matt Barnes actually was saying how like, where are her teammates in all of these exchanges? Like,
that is the biggest part that I will completely agree with.
Yeah, I mean, like, the teammates aren't stepping in. They're not trying to like make sure these other ladies know there's a price.
By
to going
size,
after the
it should
star.
be Aaliyah Boston, but if you've ever seen Aaliyah Boston talk, that ain't her.
Okay.
She's just big.
Okay.
She's not an enforcer.
She's not about that life.
No, she's not. Aaliyah Boston seems to be like a sweet person.
Okay.
She just happens to be, 6'4" and big.
Yeah.
No, they need somebody out there who has a little street life in them.
Okay.
They need somebody who's just.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a big person.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to be big. Patrick Beverley isn't big.
No, and realistically, one of the people I saw bring this up, Patrick Beverley.
I know you hate Patrick Beverley.
They don't need to be a terrible human being. I just need him to be tougher. One perfect example that I saw brought up was Draymond.
Yeah. Yeah.
Draymond ain't going to let Steph get hit like that.
No, not once.
Not
once. And actually, and if you even hint at it, it's going to be problems.
And you see that a lot of times they need to have a more NBA mentality of there are guys there to protect the guy.
Yeah.
Or even hockey for that matter. Just Wayne Gretzky wasn't out there dropping gloves.
Yeah, it was Marty McSorley.
Marty McSorley stayed employed for a very long time. If you looked at the stats, like, how is he still on the team? Oh, yeah, that's why.
The goon line.
Yeah. But
yeah,
sometimes, and I think in this situation that may be coming into play, because I don't want to see change the rules for it. I could understand if they kind of NBA it up a little bit. So, when the hot new players come in the NBA,
yeah,
they don't want them to get beat up. They kind of let them get a little juice behind them. I'm kind of okay in that range, but some of the things people are saying have just been, as we talked about last week, it's just wild.
Yeah.
Just wild to me. Like, just let her go off. That will never happen. These are proud women in a very competitive league that needs expansion.
Let that girl go off. Switching over.
No.
Switching over to the NBA. And of course, our NBA segment today is brought to you by our friends at Coco Love, the beverage of choice of the American Fan 365. Head over to www.cocolovewater.com for your own case of coconut refreshment and use the code TAF365 for your discount on Hawaiian Beach vibes. The NBA Finals are set to start this Thursday. Mavs versus Celtics. This was exactly the matchup we all thought we were going to get. But what's the matchup you think to watch, Dave, in this?
Biggest matchup to me on this is the sheer number of people, beginning with Drew Holiday, but even then, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, the number of people that can get thrown on Kyrie Irving. Because it was just 2 series ago that Kyrie Irving was averaging 16 points a game against Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams, Kason Wallace had him in hell.
Yeah.
Luka was still doing Luka things because there's no one alive to cover that man. I mean, Lou Dort was who you would think is built for it, and he couldn't stay in the game because of foul trouble. Mm-hmm. But I think that is where this finals is realistically won and lost. That and a mixture of Porzingis coming back healthy. But I really think unless he has just a mental hold over some of these guys with Kyrie, which is entirely possible. If you just go by physical defenders, but like I said, 2 of those guys aren't Drew Holiday. It's not Derek White. Might have a problem with Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen Brown might be the 3rd guy to defend him.
Yeah. I think you're 100% on the mark. I feel like this is Kyrie's series. I feel like I think that if the Mavericks are able to win this series, I feel like Kyrie Irving is probably going to be the MVP of the series.
I would disagree with that. I have a hard time seeing any capacity where Luka wouldn't be the MVP if they won.
Okay.
Just because of his sheer control of the game and the fact that no one can really deal with them. I mean, they're going to throw a lot of different guys at him, but he's going to get points. He's
Yeah.
going to get assists. He's going to have big games. Like I said, Kyrie to me he's the X factor. He's the swing in a series, it's how it affects my pick of it. He would have to find a way to go off, I think, for them to win this series.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think there is complete, and I think there's just too many guys to give him trouble. It's not saying Kyrie's going to have great games.
Kyrie's going to be Kyrie one way or another. It's just how much he can expand.
I don't think he'll be completely shut off, but like that Oklahoma City series gives them a great Kyrie blueprint.
Okay.
Because he had a tough series.
What's one of the main storylines you're excited to see outside of Kyrie?
How high my son Luka can go in the profile, like how much people can now see even more that he's been ready for this moment forever.
Yeah.
He just had to have the right group. Kyrie fits with him. We weren't sure why. We can all act like we all thought this was a great trade when it happened.
We most of us thought it was a horrendous trade when it happened. Truthfully.
We didn't know. We didn't know how he was going to be, how he was going to act, what he was going to do. But Kyrie has been the best version of Kyrie for almost this whole season while he's been healthy.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're leaning on a defensive game plan, which keeps it slower for him. Kyrie can play at any speed. Luka plays slow.
Yeah.
But he plays slow for a reason and controls the game that way.
He plays at his pace.
Yeah. And the thing is, there is no amount of coaching that's going to knock him off that pace.
Yeah.
Him and Jokic are very similar that way in that they are going to dictate the pace of the game. You will not move them off the pace that they want to go.
Yeah.
You're not going to make them go faster.
Yeah. For me, I think it's what did the Celtics learn from that loss to the Warriors in the finals? Have they? Because I feel like that moment was too big for them. Because remember, like they were in or winning a lot of those games, and then they would just have bad stretches of just poor play and turnovers, and then that would be where the Warriors would make those runs. Like I want to say that playoff run, the Warriors were like killing everybody in the third quarter. And it was like the third quarter, they would just, they would win those quarters by like 15, 16
Well, they made
points.
Adjustments, and Andrew Wiggins had an out-of-body experience for the entire series.
Yes, he did.
So, which he's never replicated before or since.
Yeah, fair.
That was a huge factor in that series, but you also didn't have the people I was talking about. You didn't have Derek White.
Yeah.
You didn't have
Drew Holiday.
You also don't have, as long as Porzingis in there healthy, didn't have a rim protector like that. I mean, you had Robert Williams, but Robert Williams is always hurt.
No, not at that point though. Robert Williams was like he was going to work,
but he's not going to give you the same level of play on both ends
that
Kristaps Porzingis is.
Not even a little bit. Fair.
Because yes, he's a solid shot blocker, but other than that, he's a rim runner, and he's not going to play the minutes that Porzingis is going to play if he's healthy.
That's true.
He's going to come in there and impact the game, but there's whole stretches where they're going to have to take him out.
Yeah, yeah. Or matchups that they can't use him in or utilize him in. That's fair.
The Holiday, White, Jaylen Brown, all the first two, all NBA defenders, and then Jaylen Brown is not far from it.
Yeah, yeah. Jaylen Brown's about to be the highest paid player in the league next year. So, or I think maybe even after the next year.
And in an upset, he proved it this playoffs.
He was the Larry Bird MVP of the conference finals. So, it's him.
Which was debatable still.
You felt like it?
I thought it went to the right person.
Yeah.
But people have made some Jason Tatum cases that I don't necessarily knock. Part of that being part of the reason you're able to do what you do is because the top guy draws him.
Yeah, yeah.
Top guy never draws Jaylen Brown.
That's fair. No, well, all we have to do is send Jaylen Brown left.
That's correct.
But I am actually interested to see if Tatum doesn't have one of those just brain fart games, because he has one of those or two of those a series where it's like he'll just end up with 12.
The king 15. Of making easy things hard.
Yeah.
I've never seen a player of this skill level find ways to take step backs on nobody more, to just make always a tougher shot, always fading away. Always. It's just like even open. I swear I've seen that man do a step back open.
Like, you had the space.
Yeah. And sometimes you just see him, he just darts to the rim. It's like, oh yeah, you're fast and crazy athletic. Why aren't you doing this more?
Yeah. Thank God that he doesn't, because he gets fouled every freaking chance he gets every time he takes 2 steps towards the rim. Finally, Dave, who you got in the series? Because by the time we get back next week on Monday, I think we'll be 2 games in. So we'll still have a pretty good runway to the end of it. Who do you got?
For this finals, I'm going to use my head, not my heart, because I love Luka and always have. But the Boston Celtics are winning this series. Barring more injuries, I'm going to say 6, because I think Dallas you're going to get some Kyrie and Luka games. But I think Boston is better.
Yeah.
And now, granted, this is not I don't want to use regular season stats, because this wasn't the Dallas team all through the regular season.
Fair.
Really, since the beginning of the year, they've turned into a completely different team. They were like 23 and 22 at a stretch?
Truthfully, since the Gafford trade. When they got Gafford, it shifted.
Huge addition.
Shifted how they... Jesus Christ. Yeah, 2 Wizards are in this finals.
Speaking of that, the birthplace of champions, the former Bullets, the Washington Wizards.
Every daggone... You said since, what was it,
2017?
I feel like it actually goes further back, but like,
well, no, you had more in earlier years. It's just in 16 it didn't happen, but every year since 2017, there's at least one former
Washington Wizard. And
Wizard.
Last year, I think there was 3 or 4.
There were 3.
Yeah.
Most of the years, it's 2 or 3.
That's a shame. But both starting centers.
Well, you know what I think it is.
Former Wizards.
I think they find out what not to do. And then they'll go to another place to learn how to win.
Yeah.
They've already figured out how to lose and, keep getting checks in the league. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. I'll say so Dave chose with his head. I'm going to speak for my heart. I think the Mavs shock everyone and get game 1. I think I got that at plus 6.5.
That'd be the recipe too.
And they have to. They gotta make a statement from the beginning, and then put them in an uncomfortable position. Because if they can steal game 1, because really that was the difference in the Pacers series. If the Pacers win that first game, who knows? You know what I mean? You just don't know. So if they can steal that first one, especially it being in Boston, I think that is going to give them the recipe to win in 6.
Well, if you go by betting odds, if they won, they'd be the 3rd biggest underdog to win the finals.
Really? Well, I didn't see that they were that far of a dog.
Yeah, number 1 they're about 180 or 190 right now, depending on where you're going to, plus 180 or 90. So the only ones that would be bigger underdogs would have been the 04 Pistons.
Oh yeah, that was definitely.
And the 19 Raptors.
What about and then probably the
There's been a number of underdogs.
The Warriors when Rick Barry, when they beat the Bullets.
With stuff like that, I don't know that they have the stats going back far enough on that for series bets.
Yeah, I think that was actually the biggest dog in history, because the Wizards were, the Bullets at that point that was Wes Unseld at the height of his powers, and all the guys, and they were not supposed to lose that series, and they lost.
Yeah.
So I think that I know that's one of the biggest dog situations.
But it's a huge underdog situation, huge record disparity.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, getting 50 wins in the West this year was saying something.
Is God's work. And finally, we switch over to the NHL Finals, the Stanley Cup Final. Screw you guys that don't want to hear about hockey. We're going to talk hockey because it's the daggone Stanley Cup Final, and we have to do it.
No, we're definitely going to talk hockey, but I do want to steal one more minute
of
NBA Thunder.
That's right. You go ahead.
It's not just the NBA. Why do these television companies do this to us? This is what I want to know. Why are we subjected to more and more people in the halftime shows, in the pregame shows, in the postgame shows? The most perfect show that has ever been made in sports, Draymond didn't need to be on there. Draymond brought nothing but Rudy Gobert insults. We can all insult Rudy Gobert just fine from home. It was unnecessary. It made the show less fun to watch, because when they say nonsense about these players, it's more good natured. Draymond hates that man. There's a different level there. It's starting to feel like what the NFL broadcasts are, where it's 8-9 people. Nobody wants this. And why is it automatically a 3-man booth all the time? I like ESPN's booth. I do. It doesn't need to be 3. And God's sake, for TNT, they got the 3-man booth, and one of them has to be Reggie Miller still? Didn't Jamal Crawford show us enough to show he was already better than him? Nope, couldn't make it in the finals there. I'd have been just fine with Kevin Harlan and Stan Van Gundy. That would have been a great 2-person group to me, just like I would have been fine with Jeff Van Gundy and Mike Breen and no Mark Jackson. I heard Mama There Goes That Man enough times. Just nonsense. The Draymond thing was the worst. We only have so much time with our heroes before they go away or get broken up. This hurt me. And I need it to be known because I know I'm not alone in this. I know there are other people that feel the way that I do. And if you don't, you're wrong.
We can't lose NBA on TNT. It's
Well, we're losing
criminal.
NBA on TNT. It's just the hope is to keep them together someplace else.
But Ernie's not leaving TNT, so it's.
We all say this because just like Barkley has been retiring several times, that Amazon check's probably going to clear with a lot of zeros. They'll just tell them like, hey, you know what? I don't understand why they don't just say, hey, we're Amazon. You know all those people that work there? Stay living in Atlanta. Do the show out of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Ernie, you could still do everything else with
that
Turner Broadcasting.
Yeah, that you
everything else. All we're doing is we're bringing the show. You go to the same place, same producers, same staff. Why not? Why not do it? You're going to pay people anyway.
Yeah.
And if they don't do it that way, they're just going to ruin it. I mean, you could have an ESPN level show. That show is trash.
Yeah.
I like Malika Andrews. I think she's a solid host. The show's trash. Kendrick Perkins is almost as bad of a commentator as he was a player. Not as bad.
And that's saying,
not as bad.
And that's saying
And
something.
Stephen A., I'm sorry. I have all respect in the world for his hustle and how many eyeballs he draws in because clearly he's beloved. I don't want him on NBA pregame broadcasts. I don't want him on pregame broadcasts of any sport.
I see. That's the only thing I won't necessarily push back because I hear you. That's the only sport that I don't mind him on. In NBA, and then
unless it's a Knicks series, he embarrassed himself. That game 7, that Game 7 Knicks pregame,
yeah,
he embarrassed himself.
That was
he embarrassed himself in the network.
That was a shame. That's a shame.
But I mean, clearly, listen, what does it matter? People like us that love these sports, this isn't for us. We're gonna watch it anyway. I complain about Reggie Miller every game he's on. You know how many of those games I've turned off because Reggie Miller's calling them? 0.
Not one. Not
one ever.
Yeah.
We listen. We lived through Isaiah doing play-by-play. We lived through Magic doing play-by-play.
Oh God.
These are things that happen. We survived them, and we didn't stop watching the sport. So,
all I have
my
to
complaints
ask,
mean nothing.
All I have to ask is that Marv Albert comes back one last time for NBA on NBC. If we're gonna do it on NBA on NBC, Marv Albert has to be a part.
Marv Albert was passed by Kevin Harlan so long ago. I don't think I could remember how long ago it was.
I hate you. I will not stand for your
do you think
marvelous.
You think he's gonna get dressed up for it?
What do you mean? Of course.
Take a bite out of the broadcast?
I hate you so much.
No?
Oh my God.
Okay.
All right, let's finish it up with the NHL Stanley Cup
Marv
final.
Albert.
Yeah, that's right, Marv Albert. You better be.
Marv Albert was a great one. It's not
All right.
no disrespect.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan. What do you mean?
Marv Albert was fantastic. He got passed by Kevin Harlan. It's age. Father Time catches us all.
Yeah. Kevin Harlan is really good. I do.
Yeah. So is Mike Breen.
Mike Breen is really good too. That is pretty good. We do need to find some young blood though. We do need to find some new young guys because they're
out there.
They're
I
all
mean,
getting old.
Yeah, they're all getting old. But Ian Eagle's good. His kid's good too.
He has a child doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his kid's already working like with Brooklyn and stuff.
Oh, good for him. This has gone too far into
Yes.
commentators.
Sorry.
But so Stanley Cup final, the Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers. Now these are two teams, Florida being, a top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, Edmonton always hanging around, always having the star power. These were two teams that could collide. How excited, Dave, are you to see the young stars have this stage? Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Matthew Tkachuk.
Not as excited on the Matthew Tkachuk part, but
Really?
no, he's frightening. I'm just kidding there. I'm very excited that even though this means nothing to most people, I like when a Canadian team is in there. It means so much to the country.
God, I hope. I listen.
And we get to see the best player in the world play for the Cup.
Who is Connor McDavid?
He is the best player in the world.
Yeah. Even when he's not, he hasn't had a spectacular playoff, and I don't think, short of him just going incendiary in the final, he probably doesn't get the Conn Smythe. But yeah, he's different. He is.
But even though he's not going to get the Conn Smythe and doesn't have the stats, Draisatl, who would get it, will get it because of the attention that Connor McDavid draws.
Sure.
So I mean, even it's like the whole it's almost like Steph Curry with, even if he's not shooting the ball, there's a gravity to the defense. You have to be further out. Mm-hmm. With Connor McDavid, you have to have multiple people around all the time, because it's usually going to be assists, but you can't leave him open to take a shot at the goal either. Yeah. So, Draisatl is getting a great career off of this. Yeah,
and has been paid handsomely.
Hey,
do you think this is the year that a Canadian team finally breaks through? This would be the first time since who was it? Either way, it was in '93.
It was the Canadians.
Yes, thank you, the Montreal Canadiens.
It was still Patrick Waugh was still there.
A baby Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, it was a young Patrick Waugh pre-Colorado. But I certainly hope so. I mean, that's what this pick for me will be, definitely a different feel. Like I will be pulling for a Canadian team to win. Anytime the Knights aren't there, I will want a Canadian team to win.
Or my Caps.
That's not what I said. I did not say that. I like Ovechkin too, so it's no disrespect there at any time. But
that's not what you said.
No, that's not what I said at all. Is Washington, Ontario?
Oh God, we're so bad right now. We're not bad. We're like, either way.
I'm not going to cry for you. You still get to watch one of the 5 best players ever, and you got a cup out of him.
I did.
Survive it.
I did.
And a lot of President's trophies with bad success.
You knock it off with the President's trophies.
Hey, listen, you guys really had that locked up there for some years.
No, look, I'll say this. If in any of those President Trophy run teams got the freaking whistle that the daggone New York Rangers got in this playoffs to go to the damn power play, we would have won a daggone another cup. I can assure you of that. Because that was when we were like lights out on. That was Mike Green and Ovechkin was crazy on the power play. We couldn't buy a power play.
The Rangers get this whistle a lot of years, and it didn't. See, it would have been nice. I mean, I'm sure the league would have liked it too. But if you had like Rangers in a Canadian team,
holy smokes, yeah, that would have been crazy.
That'd have been a little more fun for the masses. I mean, this is a very much a hockey fans series. This ain't going to exactly light up the ratings records, but there's great stars in it. I mean, if you like watching hockey at all, you should be paying attention to this.
Yeah, there's definitely stars in the games. Who do you got in it?
Going 6 games again. This time I'm going to go with the heart. I'm gonna pick Edmonton. I would like to see the greatness of Connor McDavid hold a cup.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're one of the all-time greats, which I already think that he is.
No, it's unquestioned. Him and Draisatl, truthfully.
I think somebody like that, I really, unless you're just a despicable human being, I want to see you lift that trophy.
Yeah, reach the pinnacle of success.
Could you imagine shut down that city for a month if Edmonton in the year 2024 wins a cup?
Almost 40 years. It's been like 30.
They went to the finals
years.
in 06, but it's been a long time. But they put a lot of numbers up in those rafters.
It's been since Gretzky Messier.
Yeah.
So that was the last time they had a tandem.
It's before Gretzky went to LA.
Yes. Yeah. And before Messier went to New York.
Yeah, that's
a long let's go time. Like this was when we were on standard definition televisions and everyone had box sets.
Standard definition. Could you imagine trying to watch hockey on television before HD? Hockey on TV was rough.
It was tough.
I mean, remember when they gave out the glowing puck was a game changer.
I loved the glowing puck.
Everybody
on Fox.
did because
a
was
lot
necessary.
of people hated it. A lot of people really hated it. I loved it.
That's because hockey fans or like soccer fans or even some of the WNBA fans now, they're very territorial.
Yeah.
And they don't want new people to like the sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, the glowing puck in the days of pre-HD
was
necessary. I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of TVs that glowing puck was kind of necessary. And not all the cameramen were exactly adept at shooting hockey. You know, when you get those ESPN2 broadcasts right before Keith Olbermann would come on the leather jacket with the mustache, a lot of those broadcasts, it was a little tough to see.
Why are you like this? And then finally, Dave, before we get out of here, did you know that the NHL draft is actually here in Vegas?
I did know this.
And did you know where it is?
It's at the Sphere.
Are you gonna wait? So it's the Sphere, not the Spear. If I hear another person say Spear,
people are saying that.
Oh my God! Yeah, like yeah, we gotta go see the Spear. I'm like, first off, it's spherical. Just
going to the Florida State game. See that? In the
we want to go to see
Chief
the Spear.
Osceola?
Good God! But yeah, it's at the Sphere. Tickets are like $40. So at the Sphere, that is the steal of a lifetime.
Oh no, I might just do that just to go to the Sphere.
That's what I'm saying. So I'll
still hit somebody up for tickets.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna find a way to get in there.
You know, I do like hearing a lot of Canadian people say organization. You're gonna hear a lot of organizations up there. I'll tell you that.
I hate you so much. Thank you.
Why do they bring so many people up at the NHL draft? By the way, they come up there with like 10 people.
Oh,
it looks like when we used to see like you'd have the old like MTV or BET awards where you have a performance by Busta Rhymes, but it's Busta Rhymes and all of Flip Mode was up there. Everybody gets a verse.
Flip Mode. Who was that? It was Spliff Star.
You had three different guys doing ad libs. If you saw Jay, you saw all The Rock.
That's
everybody.
Fair. No, that's fair. That was.
But that's what their draft things look like. You bring up like everybody. And their suits are rough in a different way.
It's a family, you know what I mean? Like you got to bring up the whole.
It's an organization.
The whole organization.
You have to bring up the whole organization.
I hate you. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in to another episode of the American Fan 365 podcast. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, send it to your people, hit that share button. It really does do a lot for the show. Continuing to grow. Possibly could have an exciting interview next week, so stay tuned to that. The sooner I get that information, the sooner you shall know about it. Dave jumped through his skin when he heard the name, so
you're not wrong.
We will see what we can do. It would be one of the greatest players of all time in the NBA if we're able to get that next week. So we'll keep you guys posted, and we'll see you next time.